Welcome to No Room for Phonies, episode 65.
How much time do you spend outside? And in honor of that, we are
outside. So if you hear motorcycles, lawnmowers,
airplanes,
birds chirping, helicopters,
Pam shouting at squirrels,
yes, to stay out of my flower pots,
you will know that we are outside.
We are truly. Definitely outside, and we do spend a lot of time outside, summer or winter. So starting with a green light moment.
Asking questions is perfectly reasonable.
And if somebody responds negatively to questions, then you usually can't trust them.
Right.
And we've learned that about a lot of things, especially in the medical and teaching professions, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
When doctors get their back up because you're asking them questions, then you should probably either have a really heart-to-heart conversation with them to see if they can handle questions, because if they can't, then you probably should move on to somebody else.
Right.
So that's my green light moment.
And teachers the same.
It's hard to move on, but at least you can try to figure out.
Before you go over their heads, you can try to have a couple conversations. Podcast recommendation
is yours.
Yes. So I have been listening to 6 Pixels of Separation for several years, and it has been in production for almost 15 years, I think. So episode 828 is a very thoughtful conversation between the host and the author of a book titled On Turning Adversity into Advantage. And it is a really, really good book. It takes things from not only a personal context, but also workplace, business, et cetera, et cetera. So on turning adversity into advantage, I recommend the episode.
And then a book recommendation, just a read for, I call them a beach read or sitting outside or whatever you do in the summer for reading. It's called My Name is Mary Sutter, and it's by Robin Olivier. And it's a historical fiction, the life and struggles of a young woman who wanted to become a surgeon during the Civil War. So it's got a lot of great history in it, but her struggle is quite amazing, and I won't tell you whether she is successful or not.
Okay, so let's get started.
How much time do you spend outside? And when I was raising our kids, like when I was home with them, I used to say that I would air them, like as babies even, like an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon at least. Mm-hmm. And then when, it was lighter out or certain times of year, you and I would probably take them back outside after supper before they went to bed. Absolutely. And then bath and stories and bedtime and all that.
And then when I stayed home with them, I kind of kept that tradition up too,
right,
as much as I could.
And we kind of try to turn our backyard into a bit of an oasis. Like we do have a swimming pool back here, but just so that in the summer when we sit outside, it's beautiful to look at. I have a lot of plants and vegetables and flowers and, all that sort of thing, so that we have a bit of an oasis back here. And we do sit out here and
we do a lot. When I was freelance working, I'd work outside from May to September for hours of time.
So
speaking of sunning kids in Colombia, the moms sun their babies. They strip them naked and put them on their tummies on the blanket for 10-15 minutes and flip them over.
Air them and sun them, right?
Yeah, to keep and a lot of it is because it's tropical there. It's to keep them drier, their skin healthier, and to avoid rashes and things like that. And,
But there's lots of health benefits to spending time outside. The first one is to boost vitamin D. We personally take vitamin D drops every day.
Because we live at the latitude that doesn't get enough sun for our bodies to get enough vitamin D. Even with all the time we spend outside, it's still not enough.
So anxiety, depression, and sleep loss are caused by lack of vitamin D. Mm-hmm. And so it's the sunshine vitamin, as they call it, is good for mood, bone health, and sleep quality, actually. So sit or walk in the sun for at least 15 minutes per day. My gosh, we do
That's
way more
nothing.
than that.
We should have really good vitamin D.
Yeah, and we still have to take it.
Yeah.
So reduce stress by going outside.
Yep.
So doctors in Portugal actually prescribe exposure to nature, and older adults are supposed to spend a day at the beach enjoying the thermal waters, the fresh air, and the healing microbes. And spending time in the forest, at the beach, at a park, in any green spaces is beneficial for reducing stress, anxiety, and depression. I will say, however,
We'll get down to that a little bit more later, right?
yeah, I will say, however, that I've been to some parks in Toronto that did not reduce my stress. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. I think it depends how crowded you are in urban areas. So it might be a little bit more difficult.
And then healing from illness, like outdoor time, can help patients manage pain and recover more quickly from surgery. Gentle green exercise such as yoga or walking in the park.
Tai Chi.
Yeah. So boosting cognitive abilities. So camping, rock climbing, kayaking, sailing, and trail running can boost your cognitive abilities. An outdoor activity that involves using your memory, critical thinking, and forethought can boost
It's like
your memory.
The Amazing Race and using a map.
Yeah. And like I just think of kids like orienteering and taking them places like that. And then this leads right into survival skills, like wilderness survival techniques like building a shelter, lighting a fire, catching your dinner. It actually boosts your self-esteem and your immune system, which is kind of cool.
And hanging out outside helps you lose weight because there's increased movement, better mood, high-impact sports like kiteboarding and surfing, mountain biking, and trail running will have you working up a sweat. I think that for middle age, you don't have to be so risky.
Yeah,
I think
well,
just
and they're
fast
saying,
walking can work up a sweat.
Absolutely. And for me, like I want to do a 40-minute workout today, but I'm going to get my mat and what I need and come outside, because then I get the double whammy of being outside and exercising. Also reducing blood pressure and boosting heart health. And sleeping better. Exercise outdoors or 20 minutes of exposure to nature and fresh air is enough to mitigate effects of insomnia and sleep disorders. So that's pretty. And then you're just happier. It's a mood booster, like joining a local activity groups, learn skills, a healthy work-life balance, like all that sort of stuff, and boosting immunity from viruses. Like I was always a little afraid during COVID when people were like on lockdown, and some people were like, they didn't even want to go outside. That was like terrible, because you need you
need the fresh air.
You need the fresh air. And really, as long as you were staying away from people, there was no reason why you had to wear a mask. Like in Toronto, downtown, I could see it because there's so many people, but out where we live and in a lot of communities, you could stay far enough away from people on a walking trail or whatever.
Well, we did notice during COVID lockdowns, there were more people out on our walking trails. And now, unfortunately, it's gone back to like they're more deserted, which is sad, because I thought that exercise and whatever was good.
So, and then I just looked up what they call the 10 best hiking trails in Ontario. So I'm going to put those in the show notes.
You realize that we've only done one.
Well, we're going to do a lot more of them.
We've only done one of them, and one and a part of the other two other ones
we do. I know that. We could make that
our first date was on the Niagara Glen Trail.
Yes, it was. But I'm just saying we could make it a goal from this moment to next year at this time to go to all 10 of them.
Yes, we can.
So the first one is the Waterdown Trail to Smoky Hollow in Burlington. That shouldn't be too hard.
Nope.
The Hilton Falls Trail.
Niagara Glen Trail.
Niagara Glen.
Track and Tower Trail in Algonquin Park. That's a bit of a hike just to drive there.
Yeah. The Crack Train in Killarney.
That sounds terrible.
I know, but Killarney is a long way too.
Oh, yeah.
16 Mile Creek Trail Loop in Oakville.
More reasonable driving distance.
Centennial Ridges
Trail. Niagara Whirlpool Loop. I think we've done something close
Probably. And the Dundas Valley Trail, I'm
wonder if
wondering
we
if
did
that was
that
the one we did. I'm not sure. Lions Head Loop via the Bruce Trail. So
Well, the Bruce Trail itself is days and days and days of
Yes.
hiking. So
yeah.
we've done sections of it.
But anyway, I'm going to post those in the show notes just in case you want to take a,
If you live in Ontario.
those are
and you wanna try it.
supposedly the best trails in Ontario.
And if you're not from Ontario and you're listening elsewhere, please tell us about the trails that you hike or walk on close to
right,
you.
because somebody
Yeah.
might enjoy it. So 10
You can
reasons,
especially put them in the comments on the YouTube video because there everybody can see things.
right, or on the website.
Or the
You
website,
can
you
go
can leave
make
comments,
a comment on the website. So 10 reasons why kids need to spend time outside. So we did the little babysitting last night, which was super fun. And we took them to a park. And
parks.
the little guy is 3, just 3. And he has one of those like
Push
push
bike.
bikes, I guess you call it.
Pedal free bikes. I don't know what.
Anyway, he roared. It was a long way for a 3-year-old.
It was.
And it was hot.
Yep.
And he roared there, played la 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 up and down, everything, and then roared back. Then ate like a lot of supper.
Yeah.
And then slept. He was so tired. He was almost asleep. He wanted to watch a movie, but he was like almost asleep watching the movie because he was so exhausted. So here's the thing for kids. I'm super big on it. Playing outside does build confidence because if they take risks or whatever, then it just helps them build their confidence, whatever it is. But, navigating a trail map, pitching a tent, or looking for bugs, or whatever it is.
And
So
spending out time helps teach independence. So when they're
Harder
indoors, they don't have very many decisions. Parents make a lot of decisions, especially parents that put them in every kind of activity or just sit them down in front of screens. But when they're outside, they get to play freely, make choices. I mean, they could make a pile of sticks or a dam or a bridge for the ants or whatever. All of those things lead to independence because they're making their own decisions about what to do because it's so much more unstructured.
And for me, one of the things I learned when the new kindergarten program actually came into place in Ontario is that you don't really need to instruct kids what to do. You need to ask them questions and provide them with like stuff.
Yes.
Right. And put a pile of sticks in front of them and let them do what they kind of want to do. And I think in that way, you can really tell kids who play a lot of video games and kids who don't.
Well, we've seen that amongst the children that we socialize with.
Because all of a sudden, for kids that aren't exposed to a ton of video games, it becomes a more creative, I shouldn't say that, a different kind of creative story.
Yeah. You don't hear them replaying stories or plots that they've watched before. Like the ones that have watched a lot of shows, they are replaying those shows.
Yeah.
They don't make up their own stories as much.
Right. They're not as new, right?
Yeah.
And then getting kids active, and we know that childhood obesity is way up. So, and it doesn't always have to be an organized sport.
No. There's a lot
We did a ton of family bike riding.
Yeah. We exposed our kids to team sports, but it really wasn't for them.
No, it was... And nature just inspires your imagination. Like I just remember Zachary, our oldest one at 2 years old, like we went up north, remember, in that
He's
forest.
off exploring on his own.
Was he 2?
He was 3.
3. And he was off it was up north. So, I mean, we knew there weren't any bears. It was winter time.
Yeah, they were hibernating.
But it was like he had no fear of just kind of exploring, and he was making up stories.
And going out of our eyes, like away from us being able to see him too.
And the other thing is that studies show that children who watch screens are only using 2 senses. But when they play outside, guided their imaginations, all their senses are stimulated.
Right.
So that's different. Kids who play outdoors have better friendships and psychosocial health, which I think we know that is true. And
They learn to collaborate with either siblings or friends and figuring out things when they don't agree on what they want to do.
And just the whole idea of building resiliency when they fall and scrape their knee. Like, I just think of last night when his little sister is like 1, and so the stroller ran over his foot.
Right.
Because he ran into the stroller. Like, I didn't go after him with the stroller, ran over his foot. But, and then he just, because he was outside and there was no whatever, like we said, I said, are you okay? And you said, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, and off he went. Yeah. Like, I think there's just, when they...
Well, I teased him. I said, why did you just stick your toe under the stroller? And he just kind of looked at me and smiled, and that was it.
And they also are living right without that instant gratification all the time when they're outside. And just kids who play outside are stronger, right? Like, because they're building muscle and stamina and motor skills, and outdoor play makes kids physically stronger, and it's good for their mental health. We know that. And kids who play outdoors are more likely to identify with nature and want to protect it
and develop a love for nature. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and as that's true for children, that's true for all of us. I think all those things are very, like, the reason I wanted to do those both kinds of research is because I think it's amazing how similar the goodness that it is for children is the same goodness that it is for us as adults, right? We just do it in different ways.
And now we're going to move into the reasons why adults.
Yeah. I just thought this was so funny. Excuses for not taking a walk, and then all the things that you can do that they sort of go, well, this is how you overcome this excuse is the way that
I know.
They wrote
it's very
it.
Good. I mean, it's very interesting because you are like 95% able to go on a walk and initiate most of our walks. And I'm
that's
not
true.
always a reluctant participant, but not always an eager participant.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm 60% there to doing.
Well, we've
40%.
discovered golf, so that's a great way.
Yeah, but that's slow walking.
Yeah.
But now I find if we walk fast, then I'm happier. I don't like.
Yeah, I like a brisk walk.
Walking the dog is not fun. It's too slow.
Slow for you, yeah.
I like motoring it.
But I apparently just pull the dog along because I continue to walk fast with the dog.
Well, not little Madigan.
Yeah, I just pull her along with me.
Well, I do too, but
and
it's still different.
Her little legs are, but
it's still different for the stopping and stuff.
Anyway, the first excuse is I'm too busy to walk.
Well, that's everybody's too busy to do anything that's healthy for you.
But you just commit to a time.
Yeah.
We go together, so you invite other people.
And we don't have a fixed time of day. We kind of have a fixed zone.
And I make walking a part of my list every day.
Yes,
So I cross it off when I...
Lists. Where did we talk about lists? Right. Previous episode.
You know, and for people who are working to fit it into your work day.
Yeah.
And like, you know, have a walking meeting. Like you and your boss need to have a discussion about something.
Yeah.
So just say, let's go for a walk and get some fresh air and talk about this. If you don't have to take particular notes or something, that is good. And also for people with kids, you need to take your kids walking.
Absolutely.
The I'm too tired excuse to walk.
There's that walking has the opposite effect on fatigue.
So one of the things is like, don't collapse onto the couch when you get home.
No.
Like,
have your
gear regularly, and just it becomes part of your routine before you get dinner at night. You take and it doesn't have to be about time or distance or speed.
No,
it's just about the movement, right? It's too cold to walk. That's our...
No, I like cold. That's you.
Yeah, or rainy or whatever.
Well, rain isn't fun, but
but you need to dress in layers and make sure you have warm feet and hands and the proper walking shoes for winter. Like I actually bought hiking.
So we don't slip.
I bought hiking boots so that I could do that. And
then I mean there are mall walkers and indoor things too. If you you know, and I mean ultimately the worst is a treadmill, but you can
and tracks
at the gym. Yeah.
Anyway, the same thing is for too hot.
Yeah, no, that's my.
Keep high. You know, bring water. Walk. get up earlier or go like after dinner.
Yeah, that's about the best solution. None of
And
these
there's
other
something
things
called a
else.
cooling collar. And again, walking indoors.
Oh, just having a wet bandana. Yeah, I guess it's to add perspiration by
And
adding
people
water.
saying I'm too old to do this.
Well, the oldest living people in Italy all have to walk up and down these hills all the time. They
Yeah.
live into their hundreds.
I think it's really
105s, 110s.
I think it's really important the older you get to have the better shoes.
Well, yes.
And to realize that.
But I mean, I think that people should start walking in their 30s so that they don't have to, because they're just watching The Amazing Race. Those contestants that are in their 40s and aren't very physically active, they struggle.
Yeah.
But then there's the older ones,
like
in
the
their 50s
one
and
guy
60s.
in this one, I mean, they made it quite far actually, but,
Yeah,
his,
but
he is
he was-
overweight and his knees just gave out.
But he was late 30s.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
terrible.
it's kind of sad.
And then people who say walking isn't good for their body, I don't even understand that because
Well, if you have an injury, I guess
Yeah.
you have to walk with a brace or with a walking stick or a crutch.
and again they talk
know.
about, making sure you get proper shoes, see a physiotherapist, get if you need like
Well,
a
as
little
long as my mom was able to, they had her on a walker even
Yeah.
even when
And-
she was almost falling all the time. Like they pushed it till the limit.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when you're walking and you're older, you aren't just going to walk anywhere. You're going to
No.
look for a
Safe place.
level surface, right, to do it. I don't like to walk alone. Well, I think every city or whatever would have like a seniors walking club or even walking events that people have or a charity walking team.
Oh,
or-
when you first started seriously walking, you had a friend that you would walk with every day.
yeah. My
So,
friends usually
petered out.
petered out on me, but or got some injury or whatever. But I mean, this one is the last one is that it's boring, and for me,
That is true. Walking is boring.
but I like.
That's when we have our good discussions and our arguments, though. So
Yes, so it's fine for us. But I mean, changing your route, like sometimes when I'll
Yes.
say to you, let's go for a drive and go for a walk, it's to me, it's about let's find a new place to walk till we can. And I mean, we alternate walking with biking, swimming, like we sometimes, although I like to take a walk every day in
Regardless of-
addition to that.
to the other things.
And then I would be like, when you go back to work and you're not like whatever,
Yep.
I will get up in the morning and walk with my headset on and I listen to audiobooks like crazy when I'm walking. And I can walk a long way when I'm listening to something.
Oh, I know. It's really good.
So
Well, I can once I don't get sweaty from wearing a backpack, I can walk to work
yeah.
and back. That's a good distance.
Yeah, that is true. Like if you walk to work, I could walk you there and walk back, but then I defeats my listening thing.
Well, you
I'll
can
just
listen
send
to me
you
on the
off.
way there.
Oh, right, true.
And then walk.
We
Listen
could
on.
talk on the way there, and then I'll walk home, and then I get my
Yeah.
boring though every day same route. Well, we could take a few different routes to the college.
Yeah.
Not too many.
Not too many for time's sake, but
So, but anyway, so that's our kind of thoughts and some of the research that I did. It was interesting to read about all the benefits of being outside. And I hope that if you're an inside kind of a person, like even if you're like, if you don't have like a huge outdoor space, try to, like, I'm just thinking of our youngest Sebastian, right? He's
Yeah.
got a tiny apartment, but he has a little outdoor space, and we help
yeah, but
him.
he just today went for a walk to get some tea rather
then-
than make it at home. But it was part of it was the walk, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then he sent us a picture of him. We found him this table that would fit into his
On his
outdoor
little-
space,
Yeah.
and it's sturdy. And he sent us a picture of himself with his tea, sitting outside with a little plant beside him,
and he's doing a little
working.
bit of work, but
So sometimes you don't. I mean, we've been married for almost 30 years and we've worked hard and we have a big backyard with lots of plants, but that doesn't mean that you can't, if you don't have that, it doesn't change anything.
walking is the cheapest form of exercise.
Yeah. And
Like the most
when I
expensive
was
would be good
actually
shoes.
looking to lose weight, when I stopped working
Yeah.
and be healthy
Yeah.
mentally and physically,
Mm-hmm.
I walked probably 15,000 steps a day
Yeah.
for days and days and days and days. And I lost ton of weight.
Yeah.
And I mentally was fine.
Yes.
So,
The
because it was an adjustment.
adjustment. Yeah.
So, anyway, that is our little tips and tricks on, and now you have no more excuses, because it doesn't matter what kind of exercise you're talking about. I don't like to, it's not good for my body, I'm too old, it's too hot, it's too cold, I'm too tired. I'm too busy. That goes for any kind of exercise that you can think of.
And if you're parents of young children and you're frustrated because they won't go to bed, so you don't have your evenings to yourself, so you think, oh, I don't have time to walk with your kids.
Then they'll go to bed.
Then they'll go to bed and you'll have your evenings.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, parenting advice, if you're struggling with your kids going to bed, I have lots of ideas on that if you're willing to listen. And none of them involve medication.
Right.
I mean, I watch our friends that we were babysitting for last night, their kids go to bed like dreams.
Yep.
Like
So
dreams.
easy. Yeah.
And it's because of the routine and the amount of time they spend outside and how active they are and their diet.
Yes.
And they're not denied things like they have.
And they have very, very limited screen time, but not zero.
No. Oh, no.
I would say not daily, definitely.
Well, I'm sure there's something that they watch every day.
Maybe.
That Mason sorry, I threw that word in, that he watches every day.
Yeah.
But our kids did. Our kids had stuff they watched every day. We just don't remember. Memory's a great trickster on your mind. We were the best parents ever.
I know when you were at work, I sometimes needed the TV.
So anyway, that's our stuff on being outside. We think it's the best thing for everybody. And you just need to set some goals and get going. Open the door. Winter, summer, spring, or fall.
And
anyway,
if you have a reluctant spouse, there's other things you can kind of manipulate.
If you have a reluctant spouse, just message me and I'll tell you how to deal with it. All right. So June 15th, we're back to you and your expertise, because we're going to talk about living as a third culture kid.
Oh, fun. That's a great
kid,
topic.
Adult.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Culture person.
Third culture person. So that's June 15th. So thanks for joining us on No Room for Phonies.
Episode 65.
How much time do you spend outside?